This is Johnny with Tiger Bomb MMA, and tonight I'm going over UFC Fight Night, Holm versus Silva. Jesus, I'm going to give you my quick thoughts on it. I've been relatively busy this entire week. Haven't had the best opportunity to go through and watch a ton of tape, but I have some general ideas about the fights. I may or may not bet these fights at all. Like maybe there's a couple guys on there that I like, maybe a couple underdogs, but nothing too major. But I'll give you my thoughts. Before I do that, I'll give you my quick thoughts on UFC 290, Volkanovski versus that bum. He made Yair quit, which made my day. Lost a ton of money, worth it every single penny to see Yair quit like that. So I was pretty happy with the end of the night. But let's get started with the card here. Where is it at? I'm like so unprepared. Like I've been super duper busy at work. That's not it. I finally get a chance to do this. Like I'm still in my work clothes. But let's get started. First fight of the night: Ashley Evans Smith versus Eileen Perez. I like Perez here at bantamweight. She's minus 150. I don't really like that. I do think she's going to easily take care of Ashley Evans Smith. I mean, there's been talks in the past about Evans Smith. Like I remember people talking about her beating Norma Dumont. And now Norma's on the card here. I think she's a favorite, and she's doing well. I think Eileen Perez, she's got some good attributes on the feet. She has some power. If she gets it to the ground, I think she's got good ground and pound. She's training out of MMA Masters now. I think her takedowns are going to be there. Ashley Evans Smith, 36 years old. I don't think she's in it other than a paycheck. I've got Perez. I'm going to say round number 2 TKO. She takes her down, ground and pounds her. Carl Deaton versus Alex Munoz. Alex Munoz, last I heard, he had like a knee surgery. Minus 150. Deaton is plus 120. I like Deaton, like just in general. I think he's a solid fighter, right? He's a tough guy. Alex Munoz should take care of business here. I don't like the layoff, though. How long has it been? Like 2, almost 3 years? He should come in here. He should take him down. He's got a wrestling background, trains out of Team Alpha Male. I think he's got some solid punches as well. He's got some good power. I am just worried about betting the guy and him not looking up to snuff or his cardio not being up to snuff. Deaton might be a good underdog play, to be honest, but I'll go with Munoz here by decision. I think he's just going to take him down if he gets hurt because Deaton has some solid striking. He can just rinse and repeat and get takedowns. I don't think Deaton should be fighting at lightweight. He's a featherweight. That's primarily the reason why I'm kind of fading him here. But I think he can win. He definitely can. But I'll go with Munoz just mainly because he has that wrestling background. Here's a fight that I'm interested in seeing. We've got the 40. How old is he? 39-year-old Tyson Nam versus the newcomer Asmat Maxim. He's minus 420. Automatically, I can't bet that number. It's evil. And then the comeback on Nam is plus 320. I like Nam as a dog here, mainly because I saw some tape on Maxim. I didn't get to watch him extensively. I saw enough to get a feel for the guy. I think he's a solid guy. He's 16-0. He's 28 years old. He's a good grappler. He's got really good grappling, like very tricky dude. And he's got some power in his punches, but I just don't like how like I've seen maybe like a couple fights, and in one of those fights, I remember him getting dropped pretty badly. And Tyson Nam, for what 39 years old that he is, he still pops really hard. I think it could be a dog or pass situation. Like I really do think Azamat is going to win this fight. I think he's got all the attributes to win. It's just that I don't like how hittable he can be, and if Tyson Nam hits him cleanly, it can get stopped relatively early. So I do like Maxim as a pick, but I might actually take a shot on Tyson Nam, just a small shot, a little taste. You know what I'm saying? Just a little taste of that minus 420 action I don't like, but a taste of that plus 320 I prefer. Next bout, Gennaro Valdez versus Evan Elder. This is how, like, I hate to bring up how busy I was, but I was in the toilet watching Evan Elder versus Nazim Sadikov because I had no time at work to tape these damn guys. I'm watching this fight, and Evan Elder looked great in his last fight. Like he showed himself at 155 to be very explosive. He is a ridiculous favorite, though. I don't like how big of a favorite he is here. He's nearly minus 300, minus 295 here on Tapology. Comeback on Valdez is plus 230. Another guy that I like as an underdog, Valdez. I think Valdez is really a live dog here because like he has a great cardio advantage to I guess the I don't know. I don't want to say a cardio advantage per se because like Evan Elder seemed to have a really good gas tank his last fight out, especially at lightweight. but I do think he's got the cardio advantage in the sense that he can throw more volume, he can pressure more. Evan Elder showed ridiculously good footwork in his last fight against Nazim Sadikov. I liked what he was doing. He was going for takedowns of his own. He seems to be obviously the more athletic guy, even though he's not the right color to be athletic. And Valdez, he's definitely not athletic, but he has a good pace. I think he's a gritty guy. He gets hit quite a bit, but when he pushes forward, I think he can really wear on the gas tank of Evan Elder if he attacks the body. Real shit. The pick has to be Evan Elder. I do think he wins this fight, maybe going for takedowns and possibly submissions of his own. But if Valdez can really push on him, and I mean that like in every single way, like not allow himself to get bullied around in there. Like if he even gets taken down, just try to get back up, wear on the gas tank of Evan Elder, even if it means getting taken down repeatedly, but put the fear of God in him with that pressure. Sadikov was putting pressure on the guy, and you can tell it was eventually chipping away at him, not to the point where it's like, oh my God, this guy's slowing down. The guy sucks. He looked great going into the third until the cut, which I got to say, I'll get to I'll talk about it when Sadikov is fighting, but you know, it sucks for Elder. He was winning that fight. I had money on the other guy, so maybe not. Sucks for Elder, but great for me. But I do think Valdez is very live here. Just I don't like how he can be controlled. I don't like how easily he can get taken down, and he can be a bit sloppy, but I do think he's got a really good chance here. I do think he's got a really good chance to possibly finish Elder in the late second or early to late third round. So that's why I'm not touching the fight at all. Although I do think Elder should win this fight maybe like 7 out of 10 times. But 3 times, man, Valdez can probably get the job done. Next bout, Jack Della Maddalena versus Basil Hafez. I saw some tape on Hafez. He's solid. I really like the kid. He's 8-3, 8-3-1. I just don't think he's fought the right competition. I just think that at this point, Jack Della is the huge favorite. What, minus 625 compared to the plus 450 on Hafez. I do think Hafez has a good chance to possibly, and I mean possibly, knock out Jack. The reason I say that is that he throws hard. He's got some power in his punches, and Jack Della, he is, how can I put it, hittable to an extent. Like he's got great boxing, but sometimes if he doesn't respect his opponent, I've kind of noticed if he doesn't see much of a threat, he can get hit. Pete Rodriguez kind of landed on him a little too much for my liking. And if he doesn't respect the striking of Basil here, who is more of a grappler, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and his jiu-jitsu is solid, man. The guy is strong. He can get him down. But realistically, he was training Jack, that is, for one of the better submission grapplers in that division in Brady, who, I guess in that sense, didn't have the best striking, so he was going to exploit the shit out of his striking. In this case, I think Basil has enough power to potentially knock out Jack or hurt him. So I'm weary on taking Jack inside the distance, either round 1 or whatever. But I do think he will win, at least in round number 2. I think Basil perhaps? Basil's going to have a really good performance in the first round, whether it be in the first minute, first 2 minutes, possibly even the first round and a half. But I do think Jack eventually finds the chin of the guy. He attacks the body. Very short notice for the guy to come in. I do think he's a solid guy. Possibly drop down the lightweight, though, but we'll see. He's listed to be 5'11", the same thing as Jack, but I get a feeling Jack's going to tower over the guy. Moving on, we've got Austin Lights Out Lingo versus Melk. What the fuck? I know his name, Mquizael Costa, but Melkathi, his nickname? Minus 195. I was hoping he'd be an underdog because I do think he can beat the veteran and Austin Lingo. I think Austin's got the better striking when it comes to the punches, but I think Costa, for as kind of whack as he is, a little chalk demon over here, for whatever reason, he shouldn't be that high as a favorite. I think it should be closer to a pick'em, maybe minus 130. Melquiziel, possibly even an underdog for him. I do think Lingo has a good chance to win this fight as a dog. For that reason, it's kind of a dog or pass. Skill-wise, I think Melquiziel has enough to win this fight. He can actually kick. He's pretty athletic. I don't really question his gas tank. Austin can probably land on him, but Melquiziel seems to have a pretty good chin on him. I'll enjoy watching it if I watch the fights, but I'm not interested in betting it. But I'll go with Costa here to win this one by a decision. interesting feather or strawweight bout. Estela Nunes versus Victoria Dudakova. I was going back and forth. I like Nunes a lot, just in general. I like the way she fights. Good striker, good counter striker, light on her feet, horrible gas tank. That's what worries me here. Dudakova is minus 290, almost minus 300 here. She is 6-0. She hasn't really fought anybody. Her Contender Series fight, she looked really crappy. Like, she got takedowns. Her grappling is solid. I don't know too much about her, though. So obviously I'm not going to bet it. But realistically, I'm going to take a shot on the dog here in Nunes. Hopefully she can get a knockout. I think she can stuff enough takedowns early to put a beating on Dudakova. It is what it is, man. Realistically, Dudakova is going to probably take her down in like the second or third round and win a really close split decision. But if that doesn't happen, I think Nunes, if she's been training her takedown defense because her back is against the wall, you just can't really trust her, though. You can't trust her realistically if the odds were closer, but I can trust her enough at like our plus 230. So I'll give it a shot on Nunes. I think she's got a good chance to win. Just please, for the love of God, stuff some takedowns and don't get tired. Either get a late finish or a finish in general, or just don't get finished. Simple as that. Next bout, we've got Tucker Lutz, the brother of Fucker Lutz, against Melsik Bagdasaryan. Top Gun versus The Gun. Well, automatically, The Gun is going to beat Top Gun, because Top Gun would be like, hey, the original The Gun is out there, so I got to be the Top Gun, which makes you the second one. You know what I'm saying? Usually The Gun would be the original. I guess is that proper English there? Is that the proper formulation of that thought? That The Gun is the original, and then because The Gun was taken, it's kind of like if you're coming up with a Snapchat username, it's like, I want to be The Gun. Well, The Gun's taken. I'm like, all right, Top Gun. I wasted everyone's time. I'm going with Melsik Bagdasaryan. He kicks. Good striker. He does slow down a bit, but realistically, I think he can still strike while he's tired. So I'll go Bagdasaryan decision. I think Tucker Lutz. I like Tucker Lutz a lot. I think he's a basic meat and potato kind of guy. Can get the job done. He's got good cardio. It's just that in this particular spot, I think he's going to get overwhelmed by the striking of Melsik. So I'll go with the original, The Gun. Next bout, Terrence McKinney versus Nazim Sadikov. Sadikov minus 155. Come back on T-Rex. Terrence McKinney minus 125. I like Sadikov right off the bat. Like, instantly, it's a under 1.5 type of fight. The only thing that I would get bothered about is Nazim does have kind of a history getting late, like third round finishes. Speaking of that third round finish against Evan Elder, I remember when that happened, like I had money on Sadikov and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose money. Like, I had a lot on him. I was so confident he was going to win, and he made it too close for me. But rewatching it in the toilet, I'm like, oh crap, he's doing a lot of good things. He's pushing forward. He's landing, technically, for me, the better shots. But as a judge, the way I would score it is like, he's not doing enough. But like, you can tell, like, a different judge would be like, he's doing the better work. Like, just landing cleaner, just not landing as often. So it was a lot closer than it needed to be. And in reality, he looked solid. Like, not solid enough to have like a couple $100 on the guy. Like, I had like maybe $700 on Sadikov. I got so lucky, man. But yeah, like, it was a good stoppage, period. Like, he landed a knee. There was talks about him saying that it was a headbutt that caused the cut. It was not a headbutt that caused the cut. When they asked him about the cut, he thought they were talking about his cut. And everyone on the internet was like, oh, he admitted it. You see, he's a cheater. They should overturn it because I lost money on a guy that was winning. I'm like, well, it sucks for you. Yeah, Terrence McKinney is not to be trusted. I do think he can get a finish here. I mean, Sadikov, he's kind of a slow starter. Terrence is more of a fast starter. I do think Terrence is going to be petrified to get knocked out again. So he's going to look to grapple. Sadim trains out of Serra-Longo, so he's training with the fraud master. So who better to take your back consistently than the fraud master to emulate Terrence McKinney? So I don't think he's going to get subbed. I think eventually Sadikov is going to pressure him, land a shot, not necessarily wobble Terrence, but Terrence is going to like get hit and then act like he's wobbled because he kind of panics a bit. So eventually I do think that Sadikov is going to get the knockout. I'm going to say round number 2. Next bout, Otman Azaitar versus Francisco Prado. I like Prado here, mainly because he's the younger guy. I think he's going to be the tougher guy. I love his ground and pound. When he first came to the UFC, I said if he gets the right training and he gets the right guidance, I think this young kid can be a force in this division. The guy's got a great chin physically, like looks great. Look at that fucking chin. Francisco Prado got a great name. Prado wearing Prada. It just writes itself, right? Like comes out with sunglasses, the guy can be a star. Especially if you learn some halfway decent broken English, like I'm going to fuck you up, man, whatever. Ahmed Zaitar, the potato smuggler, he looked completely like broken his last fight out. Like he just didn't know what he was doing. He's got a chance here to possibly drop Prado, but I've never been impressed by Azaitar. I think he has a lot of power in the sense of he's knocking out dudes who are bums, Kamaworthy, Timu Pakalin. Of course, you're going to look like a world beater beating those scrubs. But Prado, I don't think he's going to go down easy. I think he's going to eventually get a takedown. The guy swings hard, so if he can knock out Azaitar, I'd love that. But I'll go with TKO for Prado round number 2. I think he eventually TKOs him on the feet, takes him down, finishes him. I love the kid's ground and pound. He's just a raw energy talent. I think eventually you can mold him into something special if he decides he wants to be that special. I don't know where he's training at right now. It's his Brothers of Life MMA. That sounds like crap. If he goes to like an ATT, I think he can be something special. Norma Dumont versus Chelsea Chandler. Boy, my God, I got special brand new glasses to see this fight. I'm not saying like I'm talking about real spectacles to see this fight. We've got the big booty power of Norma Dumont versus the big titty power of Chelsea Chandler. I love this fight. I will make sure to be watching this fight. Odds are minus 150 for Dumont. I wish I had my Norma Dumont shirt that I made. Norma Dump Truck Dumont. I've been trying to like get these damn shirts made. They're a little on the risky side, but I think they're flattering. I just can't get the right quality of the shirt made, so I'm not selling them yet. If I end up selling them at all, because it's pissing me off. But I like both girls. I think when it comes to this fight, Norma Dumont, she's more acclimated to featherweight. I keep saying that, but I really like Chelsea Chandler at featherweight as well, mainly because she's kind of a big girl herself. She's 5'8". She can box for a woman. Sounds awful, but she's got good power in her punches, good boxing. She's a little slow, but if she gets it to the ground, she's got some vicious ground and pound. Like literally, she trains out of Cesar Gracie Jiu Jitsu. She's the little sister of the Diaz brothers, like the little sister, just because she trains out of there. You can tell she has that kind of like style. Like I remember with her last fight against Stolienko, she gets on top of her and she's throwing ground and pound. And I'm like, damn, she's hitting harder in my eyes with the ground and pound than like a Nick or Nate Diaz. I'm like, she throws them titties in there, man. I like Chelsea Chandler to win this fight. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight, but I think she can crack Norma Dumont. I like the odds plus 125. I'll take a shot on Chelsea Chandler just because it is featherweight. I've seen pictures of her. She looks slim. I don't love it just because she's losing a lot of but I like Chelsea Chandler. I like them both. Like if I'm just going to enjoy it a lot, period. But plus 125, I'll take a shot on Chelsea Chandler. I probably will actually bet her if I end up betting at all. I will. Fuck it. Guaranteed. I'm going to bet her. I say round number 2 or 3. Like, I think Norma, realistically, she doesn't really have a whole ton of power. I don't think she's going to want to take it to the ground. So it could be a striking matchup where it's Norma Dumont landing the more volume, but Chelsea landing the harder shots. And I think Norma can get cracked with one of those shots, and perfect time to say she can be on Queer Street, because I'd love to see this fight on Queer Street. I'll go with Chelsea Chandler, round number 2 TKO. Next bout, Albert Duraev, Albert the piece of shit Duraev versus the Iron Turtle, Jungyoung Park, minus 160 for Park, come back on Duraev plus 130. I just say I'll go with Park. Like I always fade Duraev. I don't like Duraev. I think he's overrated. I think he should win the fight 100%. Like he's got the skills to win. I think he throws hard, overhand rights. He's got the wrestling. I just think Jungyoung Park, although he is Korean, he'll use the Chinese death of 1,000 cuts. He'll do enough to win the fight. I think he can stuff takedowns eventually. I think he can land better, more actively, just avoid getting really hurt, which I don't think he will. I think he's a solid guy, good boxing. Very smart fighter. I've grown to appreciate the style of Jungyoung Park, where a guy can beat a lot of dudes in this division. I think he can beat a lot of guys that he shouldn't beat. And in this case, he is the favorite, which I think is kind of crazy because given the eye test, Duraev versus a guy named Park, you would think the guy ending in Ev would have the edge in the, I guess, odds. In this case, it's not. But I like Park in this one. Again, no real specific reason. I literally fade Duraev every single fucking fight. It's a matter of principle. If you don't know why, just look up him with a cat. I can't fuck with this guy. Moving on, Holly Holm versus Shitara, Myra Bueno Silva. I like the odds on Silva, plus 135. Come back on Holm, minus 165. Realistically, I'll probably stay away from it. I do like the odds on Silva. I think eventually she'll get some success on her. Holly Holm, she's a strong girl, 41 years old. I guess strong woman, strong, mature woman against Bueno Silva. Bueno Silva, the issue with her is that I still can't get the salty, nasty taste of the Manon Fiorot fight where she just kept getting taken down and she wouldn't do anything. Yes, she's moved up in weight. I think she's going to have more power in her punches. I think it's going to be kind of rough in the beginning to land on Holly because she's technically the better striker, but technically that is. I like Bueno Silva to win this one. Probably late. I think eventually she can get a takedown on Holly Holm, get her back and submit her, or possibly pound her out. I think all the finishing upside is in Bueno Silva. I think there's a chance Holly Holm can win by finish, but she's not really a notorious finisher anymore. Going back, she's just more of a decisionator. Really, she had every chance to beat Yana Santos, which thank God she didn't because I had Holm by decision, and that's when she gave that awesome promo about the protecting the kids that everyone got salty about. I'm like, oh, my hero Holly Holm, go fuck her now. Apparently by these crazy people on the internet. But yeah, she didn't finish her, and I was like, thank God you didn't finish her. But yeah, she's not much of a finisher anymore. When was her last finish? I guess realistically, her last finish was Nunes, where she got finished, but I think it was Betch Correa, where literally it was like Betch asked to get knocked out and she obliged. So I think the finishing upside will be in Bueno Silva here. It's a risky bet, in my opinion, taking Bueno Silva, especially in these odds right now. I would prefer kind of betting her live. That way, if she is getting beat in the first few rounds and she's not having a ton of success, I think after round number 3, 4, and 5, she's going to have more success. And I'd like to get a plus 300 line on her if I could. But I'll go with submission round number 4, Bueno Silva. She's on a all-time high right now. She's got confidence high. I think she's performing the best she ever has. She hasn't been fighting top-level competition. Holly Holm is still top-level competition, but in that top level, that top shelf, it's kind of that it's all the way in the back of the fridge kind of thing. I'm like, it's still good. It's about to go bad. The eggs are just about to go bad. It's a terrible thing to say about a woman, but they're just about to go bad, so you better use them quick. And I kind of feel like that's where Holly's at. She's still got the goods, but better hurry up and use them. So I'll go with Bueno Silva by a submission. Yeah, quick little breakdown. Let me know what you think. Comments below, blah, 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 blah. Johnny Tiger Bomb May. I will be back next week with an actual real breakdown. So enjoy. Thank you for everyone who's actually been subscribing, legit. I don't often thank people. I do appreciate it. So catch you next week.